Hey guys, just a quick little message before this video slash review begins. Wanted to just give a little shout out of remembrance to the one and only Ruggero Deodato, as you see up there. Perhaps the maestro's greatest film he left behind. And controversial? Maybe if you're one of the journalists that this film was aimed at, perhaps. And I know there are other reasons, but Ruggero, man, 1939 to 2022, 83 years old, man. One of Italy's finest. And saw this on VHS as a kid. Brought it home from the video store. And like many Italian filmmakers, it would leave its indelible mark upon me and for all my life. And so here's to you, Mr. Deodato. Thanks for the memories and all my hopes and prayers. Best wishes to the family as they mourn and grieve this loss. But the man was 83, lived a good life. Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe with episode number 12 of our Italy's Holocaust. Looking at the films from 1979 to 94. Compliments and with a little help from Mr. Jim Harper, who raked this one over the coals in one measly, small, tiny paragraph that couldn't have been more than 30 words. Called it the worst rock star horror movie ever made. But to his credit, it is in his book as a Spanish-Italian co-production directed by none other than Claudio Fragasso, of course, who worked with Bruno Mattei on things like Hell of the Living Dead, Rats, Nights of Terror, but also gave us Zombie 4 Afterlife, and also helped come in to save the day with Zombie 3, which was supposed to be Lucio Fulci's great return, but, sickness sort of sidelined him, unfortunately, with that. But here, Claudio gives us an interesting, and again, a Spanish-Italian co-production, which if you look on a IMDb or pretty much anywhere else, that it's credited as just a Spanish production, and that's not the case with this film. Monster Dog, starring none other than Alice Cooper. I had to do something lighthearted, man. After episode 11, I had to go lighthearted, man. Call it cheesy, call it whatever you want. The worst, again, take some exception with Mr. Jim Harper. I've never written a book or a reference guide to Italian, and I probably shouldn't because I'd be too biased. I would like to think I could be a little objective. Flaws, absolutely, there are some flaws in here. And basically what we have here with Monster Dog, Alice Cooper does play a rock musician who is sort of run out of steam and needs to be renewed. And so what better way to do it than go home, a home you haven't been in like 20 stinking years, for some ambiance, some atmosphere. Unfortunately, with this town comes, excuse me, a lot of legend and myth and a lot of negativity in terms of how the villagers view his family, although not a terrible lot is been given to us in terms of that. Something there is afoot. And when he does show up, him and his little small entourage, as they make ready to film a new video, a rock video, things will begin to happen. In fact, they actually really begin. There's a police stop of sorts. I think someone's been murdered. And so the sheriff, played by, who is this? Ricardo Palacios. I'm sorry. As Sheriff Morrison. A veteran of, I think, at least a couple Paul Naschy films. He's a Spanish, and this is what you get with any co-production is when money's involved, things are going to be wanted, perhaps maybe an actor or two or whatever. Shooting location, of course, in Spain. I love where they shot this. And anyways, once they get beyond the police stop there, and he makes his way home. It doesn't take long, man, for what is going to happen to begin to happen. Now, we do have some sort of legend about a creature who does command the legions of dogs, and Jim Harper does allude. And if you never got this, this really is a nice reference guide, at least a starting point to opening you up to a lot of films that maybe you didn't even weren't aware of, from 79 to 94. God, what was I saying now? And so how much of this myth, this legend, or tradition really has to do with Alice Cooper's, who plays Vince Raven, how much of that has to do with his family? We don't know exactly. And we find out towards the end, maybe not a whole lot, although some of the villagers, sort of Frankenstein-ish like way, basically want to burn everyone to the stake, sort of. They believe that this is the source of the horror that is slowly being unleashed on their community. And this, of course, is a roving pack of dogs and a creature who is afoot looking to devour and attack. And is it Vince Raven? Is it Alice Cooper? Of course, just having him in the movie, you would suspect, excuse me, you would suspect that he is the culprit. But the story does change a little bit towards the end, and we're given a bit of a different reveal. I will say this too. Eli Roth, man, mentioned on Joe Bob Briggs, one of his commentaries, A House by the Cemetery on Shudder. He got into his really rant. He loves Italian cinema. And he made a point. He said this, with those of us who love Italian cinema, why do we love it so much? In part, he said it's storytelling over films that are mass marketed. There is so much truth to that. So much film today is mass marketed in a way that it's got to appeal to the masses. Who gives a crap about the masses? And if you're in the minority and you love Italian cinema, you are probably in a smaller minority, although there are more of us than you think. I think, in part, we gravitate to a few things, and storytelling, I think, is one of them, even if we not think about it much. And so I found that an interesting way to put that from him. The practicals, it's hit and miss. There's a fun shootout, man. There's a fun shootout up on the rooftop of his mansion by some of the baddies who show up wanting to basically catch Vince Raven and make him pay for what they see is all the pain and suffering their community is about to go through or is starting to go through, past history, all that. And there is this one headshot, man, that is just, it's like one of those moments. It is wow. Some of the transformation scenes, not bad, man. Not bad at all. In terms of a shoestring budget and what you're working with, this is, of course, shot in Spain on location. Much of it is a Spanish crew. I believe the cinematographer is who has worked with Osorio, Armando de Osorio. Of course, I said the sheriff is a Paul Naschy veteran of sorts. I can't remember exactly how many films he started. Our practical, our special effects artist, who unfortunately Claudio Fragasso was not that impressed with, did work on things like, Alien and Slugs, The Rift, things like that. So kind of gives you an idea. His role in Alien was probably really super small, I would imagine. But Fragasso, and for Italian cinema, man, it is what it is, right? I mean, you either love it or you don't. And count me, man. Christmas was kind. I finally officially hit 100 films on the Italian pile, as I say, that I own and love and cherish. And so that is cool. And of course, Monster Dog helped with that effort. And so, the great reveal, really, there is a bit of a twist at the end as far as our Vince Raven character, but all that he has to go through and his friends have to go through, and the mystery of is he or isn't he, it's fun, man. And there's this creature out there and the pack of dogs that are, trying to follow after their master. It's a fun, lighthearted you really can't go wrong with if you're a lover of Italian cinema and if you appreciate the work of Claudio Fragasso. I want to throw out here real quick, too. He said eventually, down the road, I will be covering Fulci's masterpiece that is City of the Living Dead, aka The Gates of Hell. But I'm probably going to wait till I get my my new Cauldron 4-disc release, which includes the soundtrack, the score of the film, compliments of Frizzy. Anyways, you can pre-order that on Diabolic and their site, and I think this only goes. I think it only goes to the end of the year. So when this video drops, unfortunately, you either hit it or you didn't. But you might still want to check because the outpouring of people wanting it was so much that Diabolic extended the pre-order, and they might have done it again. So you might want to take a check on that. But this could be the definitive release. Arrow has put out what I thought was the definitive release. This would at least be a nice companion piece because it offers some new stuff and extras. So you want to check that out. So probably about March, whenever I get this in the mail and pour through it, I may finally do a really try to do justice to what I think is the greatest horror film ever, and that is City of the Living Dead. But Monster Dog Fragasso from 1984. Have you seen it? What do you think? Fun? It's gotta be. It's fun, right? I mean, you know, it's not at the top of the Italian pile. I don't know if it's the very bottom of the Italian pile either. For me personally, I have had fun with it. Slow at parts, maybe. Some interesting practicals, yeah. I mean, the headshot on the rooftop, which kind of calls to mind, right? The spaghetti westerns. It almost has that spaghetti western vibe in there, which the Italians know well of, right? So anyways, we're coming up quick on the new year, so all my hopes, wishes, prayers for each and every single one of you. Hope this coming year is a better one for you if the last one perhaps was a bit subpar for whatever reason. And look forward to seeing my dogs unleashed New Year's Eve as we take on Ohio State, and looking forward to that, and my Bills as we get another crack at the playoffs. Hopefully this time we can take care of business. We will see. But as always, man, we leave these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream.